Hello and welcome to iCreate Evo. This video is part of my modifier series and will cover the use of the difference section of the Boolean modifier. If you are into 3D modeling, animation and visual effects, then consider subscribing. Let's get into this. Load Blender, and like usual we'll use the default cube for this video. Let's add a cylinder to use with the Boolean modifier. Press Shift+A for the Add menu, then select Mesh, then Cylinder. Press G for Grab, then X for the X-axis. Move the cylinder to a suitable position. Now scale by pressing S for scale, then move the mouse to scale the cylinder, left-click to confirm. Now scale on the Z-axis to make the cylinder long enough to go completely through the cube by pressing S for scale, then Z for the Z-axis. Rotate the cylinder to be in line with the cube by pressing R for rotate, then X for the X-axis and then type 90, press Enter to confirm. When positioning an object I use Move and an axis, or I select a view using the number pad. I'll select the top view by pressing 7 on the number pad. I will be releasing a Blender beginner's guide soon for all the basic commands and navigation. Now press G for Grab. Because we are in the top view, the object will be easier to position. The Boolean modifier is a non-destructive workflow until you apply the modifier, from then it becomes permanent. I do have a tip to save the non-destructive workflow, stay tuned until the end. At this point I like to rename the object that I will use to cut. This helps not to get confused when I have multiple cutters. This next bit is important, as when I started out I couldn't get the cutting to work right. The object that you want to cut into, our example is the cube, must have the Boolean modifier added. Always add the Boolean modifier to the object that wants the hole cutting. Now it's time to add the Boolean modifier. Go to the spanner icon to the right, which is the modifier properties. Select Add Modifier, then Generate, and then Boolean. You have the option to use a single object or a collection. Select Object and then click in the empty object box. You should see all of the objects that are in your scene. Because there are only 2 objects in our scene, this is simple, but imagine if there were 10, 20 or even 100. That's why naming the cutting object is a good idea. Now select the cutting object from the list. At first it seems nothing has happened, but it has. You will need to deselect the viewport option in the upper right-hand menu. Now the cutting object will disappear and the hole will be visible. If you press F12 for render, you will notice that the cylinder is still visible. This is because the Visible in Rendered View option is still selected. Deselect the camera icon to stop the cutting object appearing in the rendered view. Press F12 for render again. Now you will notice that the cylinder has gone and you can see through the hole. If you make the cylinder visible again, this is where the non-destructive workflow shines. You are able to move the cutter around and rescale as much as you like. But as you can see, if you go into edit mode, the hole is not there. Now if we apply the Boolean modifier, the hole will be permanent and will be visible in edit mode. Select the pull-down menu in the Boolean modifier properties and then select Apply. The problem is now the change is permanent and does not allow for alterations. Don't worry, I have a workaround at the end of this video. If you find my content useful, then please like, follow, share, and comment. Let's add another cylinder to show that you can add multiple Boolean modifiers. First I'll reposition the original cylinder and then duplicate it. Press Shift+D for duplicate, press Enter to confirm without movement. Add another Boolean modifier by selecting the spanner icon in the Properties menu, making sure you have the cube selected. Select the second cylinder from the Object menu of the second Boolean modifier. You could rename the second cutter, but because the scene is so small, I have gone with the iteration number allocated by the duplicate operation. Lastly, select the second cylinder, press R for rotate, then X and type 90, then press Enter. Don't forget to hide the cylinders so you can see the holes cut into the cube. Now for the workaround. Get your object to the point you have all of your Boolean modifiers attached and set up with cutting objects. Now we carry out an incremental save so we have a new version to apply the modifiers and the old version is still in the non-destructive state. To make an incremental save, go to File, Save Incremental. The incremental save can be confirmed by seeing a number being added to the end of the file name at the top of the window. Drop a comment if this helps you out. The next part you don't have to do. Now I'm just going to change to render view and from Eevee to cycles for a better render. I'll move the lighting around and camera around, and then add some color to the cube. Then carry out a final render. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified of my new content. Thank you for watching, see you soon.